This is Sports Drive.
Welcome back into Sports Drive. Once again, I'm your host, Preston Moore. I mentioned we're going to be talking a little bit of high school football. Joining me now to do that is head coach of the Randall Raiders, Dan Sherwood. Coach Sherwood, how are you doing today?
Doing good. It's always good to be at school on a Friday after a Thursday win.
Absolutely. Victory Friday for you guys. Not only that, but, to shut out a shutout victory, basically, a 31-0 victory. That's a really big deal for a football team. Obviously, you're playing against Snyder, and Snyder coming into that game had only had shutout victories in the season. So they had only, they hadn't allowed a single point. You guys put up 31 on them and also didn't allow a single point. What leads to that sort of success in a game like that last night?
Just resilience. The offense we actually had a fast start. I mean, it didn't show on the point spectrum, but had a fast start, had some big plays, got us down into the red zone, down to inside the 5. We didn't end up punching it in early, but we did what we needed to do and showed that we could move the ball. And we still got some things we need to clean up, but the kids responded to the second half, the challenges that we gave them at halftime, adjustments we made. Proud of the defense, the way they bowed their neck, the way they were able to keep that shutout going, even when we put them in tough situations. So all in all, it ended up being a very balanced win, and that's probably what I'm most proud of. We were able to find ways to be successful.
Yeah, looking back at, these first 3 games, it's been a pretty solid start to the season, 2-1 to start your first season at Randall. Obviously, you had a lot of success over at Caprock in years prior, but this being your first season at Randall, what can you say about this team coming out to a 2-1 start with a new head coach?
They're tough kids. They're good kids. You can tell that there's a really solid community. They got really good support outside of the school. They'd been coached well before, very disciplined. And so coming over here made it a whole lot smoother of a transition. Good coaching staff over here. They've adopted what we're doing. They adopted a few coaches that I brought over here with me. And it's been a really good relationship. Guys do a really good job working collaboratively and bouncing ideas off of each other. Things that maybe they've done here before that are successful. Things that we've done other places that have been successful too, and finding a way to make them work with the kids that we have. All in all, though, kids are the same. They want to be coached hard. They want somebody that cares about them, that will show that they care about them and will push them. And I think we've got those type of kids here.
Well, when it comes to your perspective as a coach, what do you do to go about showing those kids that you do care about them? Because when you move to a new school, new organization, all new kids, that's something that you kind of have to start over every time you move somewhere else. You had a legacy of, the kids at Caprock obviously knew that you cared about them, but now you're over at Randall. This is an all new team. What have you done to show those kids, this is something that you're passionate about, the team you're passionate about, and that you care about those kids, and how does that translate to on the field success?
Just you make sure that you're open and honest with them, and you tell them the truth. Sometimes it's not fun to hear, sometimes it's not fun to say, but it also needs to be a two-way street, that those kids can come in and tell you something that maybe they're seeing or something maybe we should do differently, that they like that they've done in the past, that we need to keep that tradition going. And I need to be open-minded in my role and know that these kids have been here longer than I have. And I need to be respectful of that and make sure that we continue the traditions of excellence that Randall has already established over here. But I also need to make sure that we put our own spin on it, that there's also another way of doing things, and these kids maybe not have thought of before, ever done before. It started early with getting the upperclassmen in the summer and brought them over to my house, meet my family, meet my kids, do a cookout with them, and just be that true family atmosphere. Kids can tell when you're not being genuine. So we want to make sure that we are genuine, we're authentic in our relationships, and that there's for lack of a better term. There's no BS about it. We're straightforward with it, and kids respect that. I think people in general respect that, and they know that we love them. They know what our 4 core values are, and love being the last one of them. And we're not afraid to say that, not afraid to show that.
Absolutely. Well, first 3 games, you've gotten off to a pretty solid start. But looking ahead at the schedule, there will be no breaks, unfortunately, in this schedule. You guys have tough teams, tough slate for the rest of the season, especially once you get into district play, one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas. Tell me a little bit about how you make sure that these kids stay prepared, stay ready to go week in and week out, knowing that you have teams like Paladuro, Canadian, Dumas, Pampa Canyon, Hereford. A lot of really great teams on that schedule. Wichita Falls just next week.
Well, we're going to stay focused on the process. Everything we do has a purpose. Everything we do has a schedule. And we put it all together so those kids know that there's a routine about it. And they're coming off of a Thursday game. It's their first Thursday game of the year. We already have our schedule set for Thursday games. I got very used to them over at Caprock, being in a big district over there. You got a lot of Thursday games. And in that district too, with Lubbock, they also have a lot of schools in their district, and you got Thursday games even on away games. So we had to adjust and adapt and be flexible with how we teach these kids, how we prepare these kids. So we adopted that schedule a long time ago, and the kids are starting to get more and more into the routine. I think the biggest thing these kids need to continue to grow and develop with is the empowerment that we do give them. That's part of growing up. That's part of what education should be, is teaching these kids to be responsible young adults. And that's what our program's about. It's you're responsible for the success of this program. And we've got 8 captains, and they know that part of their leadership role is taking ownership of the team and making it their own. There's a lot of things that I give them the full power to be able to do, be able to handle. Be it pregame prep, be it the prayer, be it whatever it is, those captains want to take ownership of it. We're still not where we need to be at it with that, and they know that. We've had our conversations with it, but they're taking steps in the right direction. And they're starting to understand that if you want to be a true leader, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to be able to be a little bit vulnerable, and that's not a great thing to. That's not things that teenage boys want to hear. They don't want to hear having to be vulnerable and put themselves out there in a situation where it could backfire. But that's the only way you can grow. That's the only way that you can become the best version of yourself. So these kids are going to stay focused on the process 1 week at a time, and it's my job to make sure that I'm keeping them focused that way, even in the coaching room, that we're not looking ahead, that we're not trying to take 3 steps ahead when we should be taking just 1. So we're going to continue to follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach Sherwood, thank you so much for joining the show. Always appreciate it. Congratulations on your 2nd win at Randall, your first shutout win at Randall, and best of luck going into the next week preparing for Wichita Falls. Appreciate you joining the show.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with more Sports Drive after the break. Stick around.